Welcome, everybody. This is Lisa Tomey Zonneveld from Prolific Pulse Press. I'm here with Ed Ahern with his book, Peculiar Perspectives. Ed, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And where are you from, Ed?
I was born in Chicago, but I've lived in five different countries and I've visited 72 others. So it's a vague answer. But I've spent since 1978. I've been housed in Fairfield, Connecticut.
Okay, Connecticut. All right. Well, I'm so happy to have you here today and to celebrate your book. It's getting ready to come out very, very soon, like just a couple more days.
Yep,
Are you getting excited?
I am. Yeah, it's my finger's ready on the trigger already, and I have to remind myself to take it off again. So.
Yeah, it'll be here before you know it. So, how does it feel to get it published?
It's good. My background, part of it anyway, is as a journalist, a newspaper reporter, and for me, vindication was always in getting published.
Hmm.
So it's a significant part of writing poetry for me is having other people read it, and getting it out kind of into the world. And so, no, I'm very appreciative of this book. It's another chance to not so much to blow my horn, but to blow a poetic horn, hopefully.
How many books does this make for you?
13.
13. Wow. And how long ago did you publish your first book?
My first poetry book would have been probably about 10 years ago. And I now have more poetry books, significantly more poetry books and fiction books published. So
Yeah.
I started very late to write. I didn't start to write until I was 67. And I started with genre fiction, which I still do, but poetry sort of snuck in and took over. So now I probably spend more time writing poems than I do writing fiction.
What is it about poetry that draws you that way?
Uh, I've always, I've really always just loved words and playing with words. I'd like to claim there's some serious significance, but it's just they're so much fun to mess around with
Hmm.
and put them together in ways that maybe hadn't been done before, and maybe see things. The book is Peculiar Perspectives. Maybe see things from a perspective that's at least not common, and maybe even who knows, maybe even unique to a degree.
I would definitely say that in reading your work, you can pick up the uniqueness of you and your point of view and how you see things. And that's part of what makes it entertaining to me and interesting to me is to look into the mind's eye of someone else as close as you can through their work. So now I understand you're also active in some poetry groups. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. It partly enjoyment because I like being with other poets, partly selfish because they critique my poetry, and partly um, it's kind of a chance to give back. When I started writing poetry, there were poets who kind of helped me along, and some of them are still around and still doing that. And so I like to give back. So we recently published a book for the Wilton Poetry Group of members. Oh, no, sorry, we will be, excuse me, future tense. No, past tense, Wilton Poetry Group, future tense, the Black Rock Bookstore Group. Sorry, there we are. I'm old, forgive me. Um, so that would be three poetry books in a year, and now I'm editor of two of them and author of only one, but it's still kind of a record for me. And two of them involve other people. Getting back to your question, involve other poetry groups, and it's fun when I've had several poets who I've helped publish for the first time, and that's kind of a hoot. That's a vindication for them that they're not just slopping words together and watching them disappear, that they actually they're out there somewhere in some magazine somewhere. So
Right. Yeah, and that brings up a good point. When you have poetry that is accepted in the magazines and journals and such, then that says something about your work, that it has been accepted into the, the literary community, so to speak. So, it's one of the reasons that I like to see some of the poems that are in a book have been previously published somewhere, individually. Not an entire book, but although I have done entire books that have them, but at least shows that you've been out there, as well as helps you develop a following. So people like you, like your work. One place they'll start following you, seeing what else you're up to. So hopefully, then that will generate some book sales. That's always nice, right?
that's always nice. Yeah. Um, I happen to look on Facebook and I have 700 and some followers that I wasn't even aware of. So I guess somebody likes it. So because I put a lot of poetry for free out on Facebook
Mhm.
just to kind of prime the pump, I guess.
Yeah, let people know what you're about.
Yep.
Great. Do you have some poetry to share with us today? Maybe you'd like to read a couple poems?
Um, Let me see what I can do here. Bear with me, and I will try and pull one up. This is an interesting, this is brand new. This is this was written yesterday, sent off to a woman editor in the UK yesterday evening once I'd sort of beaten it into shape, and she accepted it this morning. So it's a kind of a speed record. It's very brief. It's called Apogee, and I haven't read it aloud before, so bear with me if I burble. Apogee. The day is warm wind blowing through fast growth, sprouting giving way to gawky adolescent shoots. Bird calls no longer hurried in hunger or rut. Days have swollen to all our balloon allows, and even death plays a minor key in time of plenty. And I don't yet look ahead and downwards. And that's the poem.
Very nice indeed. Do you have a poem from the book?
Ah, sure. Um,
Bet you have one handy, huh?
I've got lots of books handy so far. Um, 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 this one is just fun. Pardon the granny glasses, but
That's
I'm
okay.
notably old, so okay. This is called Sound and Fury Signifying Too Little. Of all the natural sounding words, I'm most sensitive about flurry, the frantic whoop beating of takeoff that soars into the grace of flight that I too infrequently accomplish, leaving me hop flopping my way through a so often plodding life.
Very good indeed. Is this in this collection of peculiar perspectives? Um, when you decided to title your collection, were these particularly unique poems that you wrote driven to this theme, or is this just happen to be a collection that you saw
No,
gathering together?
I think it expresses more my worldview. Uh, I I uh, I tend to look. I'm probably too stoic to be a violent protester, but I do like to protest, and I also like to poke fun at myself and other absurd situations, and that's kind of a lot of what these poems are about. But no, I have pretty much a swamp gas mind, and it's something comes up, but I write probably 5 or 6 poems a month, and so it's pretty easy to find enough poems for a book in all the stuff I write and put them together that are kind of the same flavors.
Do you have a particular poetry style that you favor?
I do pretty well okay with formal verse, and I'm adequate with haiku, but really far and away most of what I write is free verse. And I have a terrible, almost criminal weakness for alliteration. So you'll find a fair amount of alliteration in my poems.
Well, that's fine by me. It's probably one of the attractive parts I found in all of them. So, yeah, I'm really impressed with this collection. Otherwise, I wouldn't have published it, of course. But I'm really happy about that. In fact, you mentioned Black Rock, and we're going to be publishing that book out later on.
You are,
So,
for which thank you very much. And this is, that publication has coalesced that group like nothing I've ever seen before in a poetry group. They're now so much tighter. They're definitely not homogenous, but they see each other's kinks and whirls, and it's a nice bonding. And we're now going to have some kind of a summer picnic aside from the poetry group. And I think we in the process of putting that book together, and thank you, getting it published, we've grown a lot closer as people and not just as poets.
you're developing a community.
Very much so, yeah.
In this area, in North Carolina, there's a group. I haven't made it to any of the meetings to do it yet because I've always got other stuff going on. But they have like once every, I think it's every month that has a fifth Wednesday. They have a gathering at a place over by a lake in this area and write together, have a writing time. And I think they have like a little meal in that, and do some fellowshipping, I guess you could say. So one of these days I'll get there. Um, but it's sounds like it's really done well to build that sense of community, and it is important
It
to
is.
have that. Around here too, we also have living poetry, which is a combination of online, it's become more online, but there's also some in-person events. So it makes it interesting around here. It's a large. This area is very large with poetry because we have Raleigh, Chapel Hill, Durham, all these areas that really draw the literary community.
Sure.
So
Yeah, I belong to both live and Zoom poetry groups, and I'm probably old and old-fashioned, but I prefer the live groups. I find that there's absolutely nothing wrong with the Zoom groups, and I love them. But I find that the interplay and the ability to sort of read one another's body language and get a sense for where the sympathies are or the objections are sometimes. Um, is for me is a lot easier in a live meeting than on a Zoom basis. And as I say, there's absolutely nothing wrong with Zoom, and of course, COVID launched that too, so that
it sure did.
it's taken over, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I did a lot more live events before COVID. Now, I didn't used to like to do Zooms, but now I've kind of gotten used to them. It became the necessary thing to do if you want to interact with other people. So, pros and cons. It does get you all over the world
It
with the
does.
simple
Yeah,
applications. I do like that. I've met people, probably just about every country almost, and it's pretty exciting to be able to do that. I see you have your name Salmo. Is that a nickname or?
it's what somewhere along the way what the computer did with one of my email listings.
Oh,
I used to be until the salmon kind of died off. I used to be a truly addicted salmon fisherman.
mhm.
And I used to make trips up to Canada very, very free fly fishing and catch and release, so not as quite as bad as it might be otherwise. But with the global warming, the rivers warmed up and the salmon pretty much died off, and so that is tragically kind of a dying sport now in most of Atlantic Canada.
Yeah.
Um, but I stole the name of a Quebecer who I dearly like. He had the email name of Saumonier, and I thought, well, I have to anglicize that, but I'm going to steal it. So my other email is Salmoneer. And
Oh,
the long-winded way of getting back to your question, it's Salmo is the computer butchered the other email name. So
okay. No, I had to ask if I was curious about that. Wow. So there really is a poem in that story about what happened with the salmon.
there is, and I've written, they're not in this book, but I've written, oh, maybe half a dozen poems about salmon fishing and sometimes just about the river and about the natural aspects of things and not about the fishing, but you had to go fishing to be there to encounter that natural. So
Yeah. And about maybe even the global warming and what that caused. And that would be definitely something to put into poetry. The end of my phrases, there's a poem in that. There's a poem in anything that we encounter in life. I really believe that.
yeah,
Well, it's been great talking with you today, Ed. It's just been
and you
wonderful.
and thank you again so much for publishing this book. It's
My
I'm
pleasure.
I'm truly appreciative and for putting up with me in the process and
You've been fine.
I think we're going to do okay.
Yeah. Yeah. We look forward to the 29th, just around the bend. So I look
Absolutely.
forward to hearing about all of your celebrations that you'll be having.
Okay.
You take care. Thank you.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.